Hello, I'm Zoe. Welcome to my channel, Autistic Nana. Today I'm going to talk about how I specifically and how many children get missed as a child at school when they have autism or ADHD. I think mainly this relates to girls, but it can relate to boys as well. So let's discuss. I was a very quiet child, and when I was at school, I was absolutely obsessed with the fact that I had to be good. I don't know why. I had to be good. I had to do as I was told, and I had to not draw attention to myself. So I think I did a really good job of that. Many autistic girls actually copy the other girls' behavior. So they'll copy their tone or their expressions or their interests because they want to blend in. Looking back at me as a child, I don't remember ever feeling like I wanted to blend in. I didn't blend in, and I never actually felt the need to copy the other people at school. So that's a good way of not being like all the other children, but still not getting noticed as being different enough to warrant an investigation. As I say, I was being good, so I wasn't causing any trouble. Some girls mimic social cues without understanding them, and some stay quiet and compliant to avoid being noticed, which was definitely my angle at school. I always got good grades. I wasn't the top of the class, but I was always near the top of the class. I'm a perfectionist, so I had to make sure that I was always prepared. I'd always done my homework on time. I didn't get into trouble. I had quite a challenging vocabulary when I was younger. My spelling was terrible and my reading ability wasn't very good. But when I got into my teenage years, I really worked hard. I was told by a teacher some rules of spelling, which actually really helped me. And I read a lot once I was a teenager, so my vocabulary obviously increased the more I read. I appeared shy, introverted, and just a good girl. And I think when you are quiet and you don't draw attention to yourself, I never disrupted the class. I didn't speak in class. And the teachers assume that there is no issue with you. They spend all their time praising the clever ones or dealing with the trouble-making ones. So you get missed, you get overlooked. And if something upsets you, you keep it internal. You don't show it at all outside. The only time I ever broke that rule was because of a sensory sensitivity that I didn't understand, and I didn't know why I was feeling that way. My mum told me I had to wear tights to school. I think I was about 9, and my mum put me in white tights. And the feeling of tights on my legs is absolutely unbearable. It's so itchy and horrible. I can't stand it. But my mum actually insisted I wore these tights to school. So already I'm going to school with this horrible sensory situation going on, which is really irritating me. And then a boy made the mistake of taking the mickey out of my white tights. And I actually got in a fight with him, a physical fight. And he kicked me in the shin. And that got mud on these hideous, itchy white tights. So they were even more noticeable to everybody else. And I just blew my top and attacked him. I can't even remember the outcome of that fight or who stopped it or what happened. And it was the only fight I ever had at school. But it was all because of these tights that were just overloading me and just unbearably awful to have on my legs. And I never wore them again. But I still didn't know what the actual cause of that situation was and why I was reacting in that way. And I can just look back at that now and know that I must have been in so much distress to actually get myself into a fight with someone at school. I hadn't been at that school very long either, so I probably didn't have any friends at that point. Speaking about friends, when I was at school, at that middle school, I just used to always have one friend, and that used to be, in my head, my best friend. And it just seemed to be each school year, whoever I was sat next to was my best friend. And that wasn't a choice that I made, that was just wherever I got put. So I don't think when I was a child I truly understand what friendships were. And each new year that started, I just didn't speak to that other friend anymore. I just started speaking to whatever friend I was sat next to. It was a really weird situation. Looking back at it, I clearly didn't understand anything that was happening around me. I used to look at the kids on the playground, that there was like what we called a king ball court. So there was like a court drawn out and they'd all play this ball game. And I had no idea how they all knew to join in that. I just used to stand at the side of the playground, quietly walking round and round the outside of the playground. When I did have a friend in the second year, neither of us liked going outside on the playground at all, so we would offer to do jobs for the teachers so that we could stay in and not go out in the rain or in the cold or on the playground at all. Yeah, it's interesting that you don't get noticed at all if you're being good. Now, if I'd let my ADHD out at school and got into fights all the time, I have no doubt that I would soon have been not only a troublemaker, but they would have picked up on the fact that there might possibly be something wrong with me. Probably in the 70s when I was a child, there weren't many diagnosed autistic boys. Certainly, I never met any. I'm sure nobody had ever seen an autistic person when I was at school at that point. So I move up to the teenage school, which is a secondary school in the UK. And again, I'm isolated. I don't want to copy these other children. I don't want to be like them. I don't understand them. I won't force myself to speak to them at all. And I just stay at the sidelines. And again, I'm being good. I'm trying not to be noticed. I won't get into trouble. I won't get detentions. And you get ignored. So it's quite easy for a good girl to fly under the radar and just never get noticed as having any problems at all. I didn't come from a home where I really spoke to my parents about any of my struggles that I was having, so my parents didn't see anything. A lot of children that mask all day at school and try and be good all day at school will go home and then explode. I would sometimes go home and pick a fight with my brother, but most of the time I would just go back up to my room and just come down for dinner and go back up to my room again. I'd either be playing or reading or making something. So my parents didn't even see any of the issues that were going on. And I never told anyone that I had any difficulties, kept everything internal, everything. I was picked on, mocked, humiliated, didn't tell anyone, didn't tell a soul. Still remember those events to this day. And yeah, I still wouldn't have told anyone at school, looking back now. It would never have occurred to me. I never pretended to be sociable. I never tried to fit in. I don't know at what point I did develop a mask, really. I don't know if that was when I started work. Maybe I started work and created a mask for myself, but how shall I say this? Never had any kind of conscious effort to fit in or make friends, especially in the secondary school that I was in. So I think teachers can subconsciously overlook you if you're not disruptive. They've got enough things to deal with. So if you're not causing any problems to them and you're internalizing all of your struggles, then why would they worry about you? If you don't show that you're in distress, I would never show I was in distress at all. I would never cry. I would never say anything to anyone. So how would anyone know? And if they don't see a need to intervene and to help you because you don't show that you need help, then you are just going to get missed. And as I say, this was a long time ago. There weren't even that many ideas of what a stereotypical boy that was autistic would look like in the 70s. Maybe in the early 80s. I think once the film Rain Man had come out, apparently a lot of people got an idea of what they thought autism was and they judged people based on that. I've never seen that film myself. So yeah, being a girl and being autistic, not knowing what was going on around you most of the time and just keeping your head down, doing your work, handing your homework in on time, never misbehaving, never complaining even if someone's picking on you and bullying you. You are just invisible. So you spend your whole of your school years struggling internally and nobody noticing what on earth is going on with you. And you just assuming that everybody else is probably struggling internally equally as much as you, although not understanding how they actually know how to talk to one another and make friends. So it's a really awkward time at school anyway. I mean, I never enjoyed school. I know some people have happy memories of school. But yeah, being autistic at school and undiagnosed, being ADHD at school and undiagnosed, and internalizing everything forever is not the way that you get noticed as being autistic or ADHD. I think that might be a lot of girls' experiences. I can only speak for girls because I was one. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Thanks for listening and goodbye.